Welcome to Whitetail Rendezvous podcast, hosted by Bruce Hutcheon, and episode number 148.
Welcome to Whitetail Rendezvous podcast, where it is all about whitetail deer hunting tips, techniques, and the stories so you can become a more successful whitetail deer hunter. And now your host, Bruce Hutcheon.
Lindsey Hayden's a hunter, fisherman, outdoors woman, shadow blade camo princess. She loves hunting ducks in Georgia. She's from a small town where the tradition of hunting runs deep. My dad raised me to hunt and to be able to care for myself and instilled a deep respect for the animals that I hunt. I was taught only to take what I need and leave the land better than when I came. I'm a big conservationist and all about hunters' rights. I hunt all manners of fowl, deer, and anything else that has a season. Welcome to another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous. This is your host, Bruce Hutcheon, and we're heading down to Georgia today, and we're going to talk to a really great gal, Lindsey Hayden. She's a hunter. She's a fisherwoman or fisherman, outdoors woman, and she loves to hunt ducks. She calls herself a shadow blade camo princess. Lindsey, welcome to the show.
Hi.
And say, just share with what happened. Lindsey's sitting outside, and she looked up in the air. And how many geese just flew over your head?
Probably about 20 snow geese.
And amazing. And she's down there in Georgia, so it's going to be a great show, folks. So tell me about how you got into the outdoors.
My dad, actually. My dad, he has been out in the outdoors since he's from Alabama, actually. And my dad started me out when I was probably 5 or 6, just like squirrel and deer hunting and things. And I remember my first hunt, there was a spike out in my house because we have about 11 acres. And I remember, but he never pressured me to be a hunter or anything. It was just something that I always loved. And my first whitetail that I tried to shoot at was just a spike because I was still 5 or 6 and I missed him. I remember him just kind of telling me, it's okay if you miss sometimes. Everybody misses. So that was my first real hunt.
Who in your family hunts?
Only my dad. My mom hates hunting. She's not really big on it. My brother isn't. So it's really just me and my dad. That's time for me and my dad to be together.
Wow. What's one thing that he taught you that you've never forgotten?
Always leave the land better than when you came. And if you don't need it, don't take it.
Good wisdom. And he also talked to you about, he instilled a deep respect for the animals that you hunt. What does that mean to you?
To me, it's, you don't disrespect the animals in any way. When you shoot them, you try to do a one shot, one kill. Of course, you don't let it suffer. There's no reason to let any animal suffer, and you try and use every part that you can. And I mean, I try to, no matter when I hunt, and I respect in that we try and give them food. We don't want these animals. Respect is making sure these animals are healthy. You want them to have a good life before you harvest them. That's what I think that respect is. And if you see a mess somewhere out where you're hunting, pick it up. It's not that hard.
Now, do you put out food plots? You and your dad put out food plots?
We have a hunting club in South Georgia close to Fort Benning, and we plant food plots, and we have a few up there, some pretty big ones, and we plant turnips and all kinds of grasses and stuff. So, and I think we're going to plant rice this year for ducks, so they'll have something to eat.
Now, what about, I also understand that you're a conservationist. What groups do you belong to?
I don't really belong to any. I'm just a self-named conservationist. I preserve animals. I'm not really a group. I just see myself as one in that. When you see an animal that needs help, you help them,
So explain that a little bit more, because some people, they think you belong to a group and that makes you a conservationist, but really it's what you do by yourself and how you take care of your animals.
It's what you do to make sure. It's almost like there's some people who shoot everything they see. I don't do that. That's just something you don't do. You're conserving more animals by only taking exactly what you need. You help out the animals by providing them food, and you take out nuisance animals such as coyotes and other things to make sure that the more native animals are at a healthy population. Really, conservationist is maintaining that you have healthy animals in a healthy population in an area.
What attracts you to the outdoors? You're, a younger gal, and you got a great dad that's introduced you. But where's the staying power come from?
It's just that I feel like, in everything where there's man-made things, to me that's not beautiful. When you go outside and you can just sit there and listen and just have a moment to yourself, and it's just quiet and calm. It's like you're having a conversation with God, to me. You just get to have a moment by yourself, and then you see everything that He's made. Like the wood duck that I shot, people think he's not real because he's so gorgeous. Like people think the things that they make are the prettiest things. No, what God has made is the most beautiful thing.
I agree right there. That's for sure. So you're a young gal, and what happens when you go to school, you're at work or whatever, and people come up to you, other gals, and they say, you hunt? What do you tell them?
I tell them, that's just what I do. It's what I was raised to do. When I was in high school, it wasn't very popular for me to be a hunter, just because it was different. And, when you're in high school and you're different, you're not very popular. But in college now, everyone's like, man, you're so cool. You go hunting. That's so awesome. And it's really hard finding other people to hunt with because mainly it's other men. And I've taken friends that are girls out hunting with me, but they never really like it. So I'm just my own breed.
And why don't you think they like it?
I just think they believe it's a manly thing to do, when really it's not. It's a unisex sport or activity. They think that mainly since men do it, then girls shouldn't do it because it's for men. Well, no, I've actually seen more women hunters who are better than men. I've out-hunted many men.
There are some mighty fine ladies out there that can out-hunt me. I'll attest to that. Well, and she's just one of many. And I'm just thinking of Marty Davis, and I'm thinking of Brenda Valentine, the first lady of hunting. I don't know if you listened to her or read her stuff, but she's been over 30 years, I believe it is, that she's been out there hunting and been very involved in the outdoor industry. And if you don't know,
that's what I intend to do, is be like that, not to get famous or anything, but to just help sport and just help it grow and help. I want to help women get into it so that there's not that bias that only men can hunt, because that's simply not true. Because I was having a conversation with my mother about how I had bought waders and they didn't fit me because they didn't have women. And she was like, well, it's not really a women's sport. I want to change that you can hardly find women's hunting gear because women aren't into it. I think that it's for anybody.
Well, and if you spend any time on the web at all, there's a lot of great gear companies or clothing apparel companies for women. One that I know pretty well is Kirsty Pike, at Proas. And Proas Hunting Apparel, they've done a fabulous job over the last years that they've been in business, and that's why Kirsty got into it, because she was sick and tired of wearing men's jeans and coats and stuff like that, and so she developed the whole clothing line, as other people have. And the women's segment is the fastest growing segment in the outdoors today. No question.
I'm glad. That makes me happy.
Yeah, and you would be amazed just some of the great people out there. Women Outdoor News, Barbara Baird, she's been on the show, and if you haven't been on that, her site, Women's Outdoor News. Just check it out. Ann Stein writes for her. A lot of people write for her, but there's some great ladies out there that if you reach out to them, they'd communicate with you because they like nothing more than help other ladies, grow the sport. Let's talk about some of the skills that you use. Now, do you rifle hunt and bow hunt deer?
I don't bow hunt because I have a shoulder injury. So I use a 25-06 with a Sierra round because my shoulder, I broke 2 bones in my shoulder, so it kind of hurt. It hurts constantly, but that's just something I've had to overcome. And so I use a 25-06, and I like it because it doesn't have much kick, but it has a lot of power.
Right. Have you ever tried a crossbow?
I almost bought one, but right now it's just a lot of money to invest for not having much skill with it. So that's something I'll probably look into as I get older.
Yeah, because unfortunately for me, I used to shoot a compound, for years and years, and then I've gotten older, and my shoulder I can't pull back. And I can't hold even 50 pounds. And so I went to a crossbow because of that. And they're, very effective, very efficient. And you still have to hunt the deer. You still have to do everything right to get the deer within
the range.
20 or 30 yards, maybe a little farther if you're out in an open area or if your little opening's bigger. But typically, it's the same skill set as a compound. It's just that I use a Excalibur bow, and that's a recurve on a rail. That's what I carry. There's no pulleys. There's no wheels or anything. It's just a recurve bow that's locked into a rail, and that's what I shoot. So think about that.
I definitely will. One thing that we definitely changed this season that helped me get more deer, because this year was actually my first year to be what we call bucked out. Mm-hmm. And we're allowed 2 bucks per season, one any size and another one has to be 4 on one side. And I was lucky enough, I actually went hunting by myself for the first time this past October and got my first buck by myself and dragged him out by myself.
Is that the one in your picture? Is that the picture you sent? Oh,
this
okay.
one was a yearling 4-pointer, which we can't trophy manage deer around our house, so it was either take him or don't get a deer, So I took him and I dragged him out and I shot him dead in the heart. He didn't have one when we cut him open. So I shot him square in the heart, and which I'm glad because he didn't have to suffer. And my next steer was a few weeks after, and the thing that really helped that made a big difference was my dad had bought an ozonic. And the deer, we had a coyote come straight up to us, and coyotes will smell you pretty easy. So we had that ozonic, and it produces ozone, which it covers all of their odors. And the deer was downwind of us the whole time, and we didn't even see him. We turned around, he was there, and I took the shot. So it was a really great hunt. For everything on that hunt that was going against us, it turned out to be a really great hunt.
You just never know, and the old adage is true. You'll never kill a deer or a buck or a doe sitting on your couch. You got to be out there.
Nope, you got to be out there.
So what you like to duck hunt also. Now, how does duck hunting help you whitetail hunting, or vice versa? Whitetail hunting help you duck hunting?
I felt like having experience with whitetail hunting helped me with deer hunting because I had more experience dealing with a gun and just being out there, because we could see ducks fly over sometimes and we could see their behavior, and just having that experience instead of just going in not knowing anything about hunting helped me. I feel like whitetail deer hunting is a gateway drug.
Share some of the lessons learned. You just shared one about scent control with ozonics, but share a couple of other experiences that you want to pass on to our listeners.
Well, one thing that I learned in duck hunting is that decoys aren't necessarily always needed, especially where I live. If you live in the South, a lot of times it's mainly just wood duck. either them wood ducks are coming in or they're going out. So you really don't need decoys. Aren't as important. They stress a lot of things for decoys and things like that, but it's just most hunting, my best advice to hunting is for you to get out there and for you to do trial and error. I can't tell you exactly what to do because you don't live in my area. The deer are different. They respond differently. So the best thing for you to do is go before season or after season and just sit there and watch the animals and see how they behave. The best thing that I could tell you is watch behavior.
Now, what type of behavior have you picked up on that has made you a better hunter?
I feel like just knowing what when the does start getting nervous, almost like when they stomp or when you can tell that they know something. We also put out, it was a call, and we were just messing with deer. We put out a grunt call on a primo, and it was a fawn call and a grunt call, and the deer really responded to that. Just watch them behave. Like, they really respond to those calls. Deer are actually very vocal animals. You don't see that in the stand, but I think that helped me.
Well, it's just they communicate, and all critters. I'm sure you call in ducks, or don't you? I shouldn't assume anything here.
Yeah, I do. I have a call.
And most people are familiar with the mallard call, but is it a tweet or a beep more for wood ducks?
It's almost like a high, like a low, like tweet, like that, like it goes. It's almost like a shriek, almost like a banshee. It almost sounds like.
Interesting. You really like the outdoors, don't you?
Oh yeah, like I'm sitting outside talking right now, and it's just great. It's way better than me.
Well, I agree with that. Now, what advice would you give other young adults, young women about the sport, about how to get into the sport? What advice would you give them?
To find someone more experienced to help you, definitely, because it'll make you safer. They can instill knowledge that you may not otherwise get. Just get someone who has good experience to help you. And then you can pass it on to other generations. That's the best thing, because that's what my dad did for me. Find someone who's willing to help you. And just do your research.
What type of research do you recommend?
I would recommend looking, especially season date. That'd be probably good. Just what kind of rifle is used, clothes, things like that, because you don't want to be out there and be freezing. That's my biggest thing. Don't go out there and be freezing. Find research of where you can hunt, like either private that people you know, or WMA, because I duck hunt on a WMA. So I'll just say do your research on where you can hunt, how you can hunt, and find people who can help you, because hunters are a community. They love to help others. And I've noticed that from on my Twitter where y'all contacted me. We're a community.
Yes, we are. And it's fun that I can sit here and I talk to people throughout North America. And today I've been in Connecticut, I've been in Iowa, British Columbia, now in Georgia, and I haven't left my office. And, we're all talking about the same thing. We're talking about hunting. We're talking about conservation, the hunting tradition, hunters' rights, and how to become a better hunter. And it's just amazing community. And you're entirely right, Lindsey.
At least snow geese are still out here.
Are they really?
Yes, they're just flying around in circles.
Are they looking for food or a place a pond to sit in?
They have a lake. Actually, my college is across the street from my job, and there's a giant lake over there called Paris Lake. And you can't hunt on it, but I always, during duck season, I'll go out there and listen to the mallards call and the geese call. And at one point, there were redheads and widgeons, which are, if you duck hunt down here, they're really hard to find. Those are pretty rare birds down here. So I would just go out there. I'd be in full camo. I'd tell people, hey, I'm out here. I'm not hunting. I'm calling. And I'd just sit out there and listen to the widgeons call.
That must be fun. Now, are you taping? Are you videoing any of this?
Now do what?
Are you videoing? Like you went out and called ducks just on the pond, and did you call any in?
I called a few. I called some widgeons because redheads are harder to call to me.
Go ahead.
Well, redheads are harder to call because it's just like a grunt. It's just like like that.
Now, have you ever thought of videoing?
I think I did a little bit, but I don't know that I saved it. I just put it on my Snapchat for my friends on there to see.
Yeah, because
I don't remember.
Because even with your smartphone, you can get some pretty good HD, clips. Instagram, it's like 13 seconds, but if you just video straight, you can get a couple of minutes. You might think about doing that.
It was pretty cool. It was cool seeing some cotton tops out there, so I enjoyed it.
Now, do you have cameras out, and do you hunt from tree stands or ground blinds?
We hunt box stands, which are it's a wooden box up on stilts with a ladder going up into it. It's painted camo.
And how far off the ground is it?
I think it's about 15 feet.
And so do you have like plexiglass windows or sliders or?
No, it's just wide open. My dad has wanted to do stuff like that, but we just haven't gotten around to it.
All right. So it must get a little chilly if the wind's blowing.
Sometimes. So I just layer up. Sometimes, like, before I had, like, really warm clothes, I hated deer hunting because I would always get so cold. Like, my dad would just take me back to the cabin because I'd be crying because I was so cold.
So what kind of you say layer up? Tell us about the type of layers you have down in Georgia because, I've hunted 20 degrees below zero and I look like the Michelin, tire man, or
see, that's too cold for me. I just bought a polar layer from Cabela's because I get really cold. I'm really cold natured anyway, and if it gets below 30 degrees in the south, it's freezing cold. So, I just bought polar layer, and I wear that as an undergarment, and then I just layer over with Drake, waterfowl, and Cabela's waders.
Now, do you wear down or hydrofill, or what type of insulation do you wear?
Now, do what?
No, the insulation. What is it made out of? Down, or is it fleece, or what's the fabric?
I'm not exactly 100% sure. I just know. I think it's just a synthetic down. I guess that's what you call it. But the jacket's waterproof, so that's a plus.
And how about your footwear for when you're deer hunting? What kind of boots do you wear?
My boots are literally just from Walmart. They're just hunting boots from Walmart, and I wear wool socks with them, so I stay warm. Now,
in your box blind, do you have a little heater or not?
No, we're all open to the elements.
So it's basically like you're sitting outside, but you're elevated. You're in an elevated stand. Which is closed in, but there's no insulation in the stand, so it's still pretty cold. Now, you also fish. What type of fish do you like to fish for? Catfish, number one, because they're delicious, and I'm really good at cooking them. Brim, more just for fun. I've eaten them, but it's a lot of work. You got to catch about 200 to have a good meal. And bass, I've caught more bass on accident than I have on purpose. Okay. So usually I don't really try and catch bass because my dad likes to keep them because I don't know, I guess it's just for sport. So my dad likes to keep those in our pond. So I just don't really try and catch them because I don't know, I'm just not interested. I guess that's a little weird thing about me. Because most people are really big on bass fishing, and I'm just like, whatever. Now, let's go back to your box blind. Now, do you have the blinds on private land, or can you put them up and erect them on public land? It is a private hunting club. Mine is. Okay.
On our WMA, on our wildlife management, you can't build any human structures unless, I'm pretty sure it has to be a go by the WMA. So you'd have to bring a climber out there or just sit on the ground. But my dad does make them, and he does sell them like around here locally.
So he makes climbers?
No, not climbers, the box stands.
Oh, okay, box plants. And you put them on your hunt club. How large is the hunt club?
I think it's 3,500 acres.
Wow. And how many members do you have?
Or it might be 1,700 acres. I don't remember, honestly. I think it's about 30 right now, but I don't know if we're full or not. Which I'm already set up to be a member because my dad is a member, so a member's child gets automatic voted in. So whenever I'm able to be a part of it on my own, I'm automatically voted in.
Tell me just one funny story that you heard around the campfire, or in if you have a lodge or a cabin, wherever you stay down at your hunting club. What's one funny story that you'd like to share with us?
Well, there was one of my dad's friends was out hunting, and he heard something almost like a crunching, and he thought, well, that's weird. Almost like when you turn a can, how it sounds. He heard it, and he's thinking, well, that's weird. There was a squirrel that had a beer can that looked like he was drinking, and he was chewing on a beer can. Looked like he was drinking out of it.
No way.
Yes. He said he wished he could have got a picture, but it got away.
Oh, that is humorous. There's no question about that. Wow. Well, I know you got to get back to work, so we're gonna wrap this up. So you got a couple of minutes now to thank the people that have helped you become a huntress and helped you in the outdoors. And it could be people, from the hunt club, your mom, your dad, uncles, or whoever. So take a couple minutes and thank those people.
Well, I would especially, I know my dad's going to be listening to this, so I would really like to thank my dad because he's the reason I do what I do. And everyone at my hunting club who's super, super supportive, John, Heavy, all of them who have just helped me become what I am today, and I hope they continue to help me. And my mom for putting up with me bringing dead animals in the house. So.
Now, does she cook them up for you?
No, I have to cook them myself. So I've become a pretty good cook at the same time.
Well, I'd love to have you on sometime, or have you send a recipe so we could share that with all the listeners of Whitetail Rendezvous.
Okay, definitely. I can send it to you in an email or over Twitter sometime.
Yeah, just send it to my email, and then we'll get it out there, and we'll get it posted for you. And Lindsey, it's been a pleasure having you on, and I'm just so thankful there's young ladies out there that just love the outdoors and are willing to be, one, a conservationist, two, make themselves into a great hunter, and three, willing to share your knowledge with anybody that wants to share it with you. So on behalf of Whitetail Rendezvous, thank you for being on the show.
Well, thank you for inviting me. It's been a pleasure. I've loved it.
As your host at Whitetail Rendezvous, I want to thank each and every one of you for spending your time with us today. I look forward to sharing with you in the next episode more whitetail hunting tips, techniques, and stories. Until then, keep the sun at your back, the wind in your face, and always be patient.
If you have any tips, comments, or suggestions, or what we can do to improve, because we're here to serve you, let us know. Thanks for listening to Whitetail Rendezvous Podcast at www.whitetailrendezvous.com.